Okay. All right, guys, I'm so excited. Today we have a really special guest on who I have been wanting to get on the show for a really long time. Brad DiMaggio of Scrapyard Media is here in the house.
What's up, Kelly?
What's going on? So let's give people a little bit introduction. Let's just tell them about you first, and then we'll get into the long saga of how we met and what we're doing and all the things.
Yeah, so my name's Brad DiMaggio. I own Scrapyard Media. It's a team of 4 people that are content creators, mostly in the performance boating industry. And we've kind of been dabbling with some new things. And Kelly invited us out to come film some of the Devon Horse Show. And that's kind of how we got into working together. But prior to that, we had met through some of the powerboat stuff. So yeah, we do documentaries, social media content, pretty much anything where cameras are beneficial.
Yeah. So crazy. Okay, so let's kind of give them like a recap story of how we met. It's kind of the craziest story ever.
Yeah.
So we met on a mutual client's. You were working on a documentary.
Yeah, it was our first doc series project.
And so I was working with a client, and you were following them for the docuseries. And so I had really so we were shooting media for the client, and then Brad and Bobby were down shooting the docuseries. And so, you know, it's always interesting when you work with fellow creatives because you truly just like don't know. You know, you work with so many people, and sometimes like obviously when they're shooting, you have no idea, like, is their work good? Like, is it shitty? Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, you never know.
Like, no. You never know. Like, us creatives, like, we have all been through it all, right? And so I was like, okay, like, they were around, you know, the whole time we were shooting, and super, super wonderful to work with. They actually first experience, and this is why first interactions are really important, people, is because the first interaction that I had with Brad and Bobby, I had rented this gimbal. And what a gimbal is a stabilizer. So it's like I had rented this big gimbal, and I rented this huge lens. And so I like went to the rental place and I was like, I need the biggest lens and the biggest gimbal. And my personality is like, I had never used a massive gimbal like that in my life. I had used other smaller stabilizers. But anyway, so first interaction with them, they're like, happy to help you. No problem. They like set the whole thing up. And like, I'm just telling you, if they wouldn't have done that, I would have been SOL the whole weekend. So first vibes was like, okay, they are cool as shit. So helpful, so nice. And then next thing you know, Brad and I are in like a helicopter together, like flying down in the Keys. And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, I am just like, it was a really wild experience. Like, Brad has his camera out, like the window, and he's like,
yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. I have like my phone, like, just,
yeah, I felt kind of bad because you were prepared to shoot video out of the helicopter with the Ronin and with your camera setup, and I'm like, hey, it's probably going to be better if you shoot this handheld because it's just tough with the Ronin. It's a tight space, you know, you got a huge camera, huge rig. I'm like, I'll shoot the video out of this side, and, you know, I'll just send you whatever you need.
Yeah, Brad just like taps me on the back. He's like, it's okay, little girl. Like, I have this under control. Like, because I had never had this experience before. I was like, it truly was a whole nother world that I just wasn't experienced at. And so I'm so thankful for you for that. And so that was our first like experience like working together.
Wait, you got to finish with the good part of that story. We got kicked out of the race.
Oh, yeah.
We almost disqualified the team for having an unauthorized helicopter in the race course. And they were trying to tell us to leave. We weren't leaving. It wasn't really on us. It was on our pilot for not going to the safety meeting. But at the end of the day, we didn't really get any footage because we got kicked out like after the first lap.
Yeah. And it was so crazy. I mean, like, look, y'all, I was just there. Brad was like really working. He was like actually doing his job and like really in it. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like waving at my friend like down at the boat. Yeah. And I'm like, this is so cool. Like having the best time. That's just like my personality. I'm just like squirrel all the time. But yeah, so you're right. That was a crazy experience. And I just remember when I landed, I remember before I went off, I was like, I looked at you and I was like, if we go down, like, at least, you know, we're going down together, I guess.
Yep.
So yeah, but when we got back onto to firm land, it was one of those moments that, yeah, I'll never forget. So it was really fun, super, super fun. So then, like I said in the beginning, like when you work with creatives like this, you just have no idea, like the production of like, what is it going to turn out like? And I always laugh because when I was shooting weddings, I shot weddings for a long time. And I would be on set or doing whatever, and people would come up to me like, "You're doing a great job," and you're like, "Well, how do you know? Like, you don't even like you haven't seen anything I've done yet." So I just remember so vividly when the first episode of your docuseries came out, and I was so literally blown out of the water, like no pun intended, and I just was like, "Holy shit!" Like, they know what they're doing. Like, because I was there. Like, I was there. I saw everything that happened, especially that first episode. You know, I saw, like, I was in it and, like, in the background. But, like, you know, I was there experiencing everything that you were experiencing, but to see it through your lens and to see how you told that story was incredible. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, when I came up with the idea, I wanted to do the docuseries. I did, you know, me and my team did the first round of season 1 because it was just such a whirlwind of an experience. Anyway, we didn't get approval till late, but when Devon came around, I was like, okay. And it's funny because I think when we had our first initial call, you don't know what you don't know, right, guys? Like, you have no idea, like, how much these things cost, how much time goes into it. I was so ignorant, so naive. I just didn't know.
Like me to horse shows.
Exactly, which we will definitely dive into.
Nothing.
Yeah, we'll definitely dive into that. But yeah, like, I had no idea. And I just, like, story of my life, like, I remember I was, like, in a Starbucks line. Like, we had our call. It was, like, I had 10,000 things going on. I was like, Brad, basically, I want to, like, shoot this show. Like, this is what I want. I want like 4 episodes and like I have like a $15,000 budget. And he was like, okay, well, and he was very kind. You know, he was like, well, this girl is a shit show, but
I did not say that.
No, I'm just kidding. No, he was so kind. And like you said, like I said, you just don't know what you don't know. So he put a proposal together and he heard me out. He kind of heard, and again, like, you guys throughout this episode will hear your lack of knowledge in these types of things. And this is why you hire professionals that really know and understand what they're doing, because Brad helped me so much, you know, kind of just guiding me of like how to do this, like what I need to do as a producer, like all of those types of things. And so doing it again, I'll be much more, Brad will force me to be more prepared. But yeah, I just really didn't know what went into it, and I was learning as I went. So the next step was going to be, he sent me the proposals, and you know, the price for these productions, people, I just don't think you really understand. And it's not only just like, oh, you just stand there and hold a camera. It's all of the pre-production. It's all of the things that go into it. Like, the planning part is so intense. So talk about that. And talk about like how you prep clients for things like that, because obviously, like, I'm such a great example.
Why prep is so important.
It's kind of crazy, and I tell people the filming is always the most fun part, and it's always the easiest part. You know, you get to express your creativity through doing different types of shots, filming different segments and things. But where the work comes in is in the pre and post production. And you don't see that. You just see a person showing up with their camera and they film for 6-8 hours, whatever it is, and then they go home. And for us, every 1 hour of filming is like 3 to 4 hours of other work. You know, getting your gear ready, cleaning your lenses, you know, coming up with all the interview questions, coming up with the topics, all that stuff. And I think that when you just show up and you film, and you don't have the pre-production laid out, you're just going to hurt yourself on the back end. Like, you're going to spend more time in editing because you didn't put the time in up front. So, and like you learned through that whole process, I learned the same way by just not doing it and then figuring out, okay, well, if I knew that I needed those shots, I wouldn't be searching the internet for those shots for 2 hours after I didn't get it or something, you know?
Right.
So it was like a trial and error type of thing. We went through some courses and whatnot, just online stuff that are great resources to kind of teach you how to structure pre-production documents. And I think you and I went through that at some point, maybe like after the first day of shooting or whatnot.
Yeah.
And we looked at it, and I think it made sense to you in that, you
Yeah.
know, you want to create these segments and these different like types of narrative throughout the whole story. And I'm looking forward to, you know, if we do this again, like we can use that and we can kind of build
Yeah.
on what we already did. But it's something that we use for every project, whether it's an Instagram reel or a 4-part docuseries. You have to
Yeah.
put in the time up front in order to like get the result that you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is like, obviously and that's the thing is like, I'm in the media space. Like we create content all the time, but this is like a
Yeah.
whole nother beast. Like when you're doing long form, like really storytelling docuseries like this, like it just requires a whole nother layer, many layers.
And like I
You
said,
know?
I use it for small stuff too. And
Yeah.
but sometimes that can be a negative, right? Like I was looking at some of your
Agree.
content the other day and I'm like, man, that's so great. Like, how did you come up with that stuff? And you're like, well, we just turned on a camera and I started talking, and you know, like
Yeah.
you're able to just spit that stuff off the cuff, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
that's something that I struggle with. We don't do great at that type of content. But that's not like our focus. Our focus is the long form storytelling. So that works
Yeah.
well for us. And you do a great job with like these off the cuff, kind of like funny things. I'm always getting a
Yeah.
kick out of your Instagram.
Thank you. I'm always doing some like crazy shit all the time.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's like, but that's such a big part of not only being a business owner, but being a person in general, like really deferring to people. And that's why I wanted to bring Brad's team on, is because like, I have no pride in saying like I own a media agency and I brought a production team on like to produce something for us. And it's like, there's
Yeah.
no pride in that, because at the end of the day, everybody wins, and I am not good at this. So I'm going to hire somebody that is, and everyone's going to be more successful. That's just the way, like, I always like to handle things like that. I think that's just the way. Pride needs to be out the window, right? Like, I
Yeah.
just feel like that's just,
It's not easy for everybody. And you probably don't start there. You probably start by just trying to do everything.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, I need help.
Well,
you know,
yeah,
like let's bring in some
absolutely.
people.
yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, the first, docuseries that I saw you guys produce, and you guys should definitely go follow him. We'll link all of the things. But it was so incredible. And like I said, I really saw the talent of your storytelling abilities, and not only your storytelling, but like your visual storytelling and the cinematic shots. And so when we got on set for Devon, I obviously knew that you were very, like, I knew, I've seen what you've done. So, but it's so different than when you actually work with somebody that, and you see it like firsthand live. And there are so many things that like I would have never, and this is what I was telling Frank about. I was telling my husband, I was saying like, there are so many things that like Brad's team did that like I couldn't even like ask him to do, because I didn't even know it like existed. But you guys are so skilled and talented and have done this so many times that that's like, you're like, I know Kelly's going to need this. Like, I know that
Yeah.
Kelly's going to need XYZ. And so I just appreciated that so much. And again, like, just that's what you pay for when you hire somebody that is really good at what they do. So,
And your willingness to kind of take feedback on the stuff that we were doing encouraged Bobby and I to give more feedback, because
Yeah.
there was a lot of gaps in between like what you were looking for and what we were bringing to the table as far as like what had been communicated. And as we got through that first day, it was like, okay, we got to talk about a lot of stuff here. And,
Yeah.
we didn't get through everything, but we got through enough of it. And I got an understanding that you were going to pick up on these things. You were going to allow us the freedom to kind of do what we think is best in those moments. And that's
Yeah.
really all we needed in order to make it a successful shoot.
yeah. And I mean, I really, and I'm not just saying this, like, I truly feel like there's nothing that, like, the content that we have or that I have to produce the show, like, there's nothing that I feel like is is like missing, or like, because you guys, and that was something I was worried about was, you guys, I was worried and excited that you guys don't know horses. You don't know the
Mm-hmm.
horse space. I'm like, is this going to be a pro? Is this going to be a negative? Like, are they going to understand and like get like what needs to be shot? And I just like, I think that I was so impressed. I was just so impressed when we got into the edit of like all the things that I could have not even like have planned for or asked you to get, because I didn't even know I needed it until I got into the edit. And I was like, okay, Jesus Christ, thank you, Lord, for like you guys, because I would have been really screwed. I would have been really SOL. So
yeah, I think you've got to let the audience know like what the dynamic was with the edit, because we had no, other than a few calls where you were just looking for a little guidance. We didn't really have much input on the final product.
yeah. Well, I was up till 2:30 last night doing the final edit of. So
Nice.
if I look tired, that's why. But the edit is something that like, now that the last episode is airing tomorrow, it's done. The premiere is up on YouTube. The link, everybody go click on it. But like, so it kind of feels like this like weird gap now that I had like all the, like, what am I going to do with all my time? I don't even know. But it was something that was so, I just remember like when we were like standing at the in gate or like at Devon, and I just remember like a couple times like you or Bobby like would joke about like, oh, all the audio, or syncing the audio, or getting all the clips, or like doing all that, like starting to edit. And I just remember my stomach would just drop, and I'm like, just don't even think about it. Just don't think about it, and just like get through this. And so, and I think it took me like, it wasn't something that when I got home, because it was such a grueling couple days, that like, it wasn't something that I like immediately was like, okay, I've got to like start editing. I probably took like a good like 5 to 6 days, like a solid week of like, okay, I need to like give myself a minute.
Yeah.
But the edit, like it was a super fun thing for me to do. And I honestly would do it again. I would do it again, because it was really, really fun. I feel like I could really tell the story the way that I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I learned so much, like so much. So it was a big learning curve, and I'm still learning. So I am in, like Frank said, like he was like, I think your editing has improved. And I think you said that too. He was like, you've gotten better since the beginning, since episode 1. So that's positive. But yeah, I'm just a firm believer that you need to challenge yourself. You need to push yourself. You need to do things that scare you. So I'm not afraid of it, but it was definitely something that,
Yeah, and this time around, you didn't have like the pre-production outlines and stuff to just, okay, here's my outline. Like now I'm going to just drop all this in the way that it says in this document. You're kind of figuring it out as you're editing it. So for the future, if you do this again, it's probably just going to be way easier. It should be.
I hope so. Yeah, dear God, I hope so. So let's talk about the first day of shooting. So let's just kind of paint the picture for everybody. So it is end of May in Devon, Pennsylvania, and I'm coming from Georgia. You guys are coming from Michigan, and it's like a rainy, cold day. And I think we got in late. I think our flight the night before got in at like 8 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a late night.
It was a late night. And then we were going to be up. I think we got up at like 4 or something. And let me just say, like, we had myself, Charlotte, Katie, Brad's wife, Brad, and Bobby. And 3 of them had never been around horses. The 2 of us had. And it was 4:30 in the morning, and it was raining. It was cold. And Brad was also sick. Let me just say, Brad was sick. And so obviously things were like really peppy and cheery that morning. And so I'm going to allow you to take the reins from there.
Yeah, so we split up, right?
Yeah.
You and Charlotte went one way, I think, to meet with the event coordinator or something to kind of just check in. And so Bobby and Katie and I have 3 cameras, and we're walking in, and you have to keep cameras dry. So we had umbrellas. Well, I didn't know that horses don't like umbrellas. So we're walking in, and they're all riding, like warming up, and everybody's staring at us. And I'm like, is it the cameras? Like, can they really tell that we don't know what we're doing here? And come to find out, the umbrella thing really gave it away. But I had no idea. And we're just standing there, like right on the fence, right up against the thing.
Yeah.
With our 3 umbrellas. And then the rest of the weekend or week, it was like all I could hear about was how these morons with umbrellas walking around were spooking the horses. I'm like, oh, that was us like yesterday.
Yeah, like literally, I think everybody said something. It was just so funny. Like every subject was like, oh, the umbrellas, or and they're just like, ooh, that was us. But I mean, but you guys like took it like champs. And I mean, that's the thing, is when you work with professionals, they're very used to dealing in harsh weather conditions. But it was tough.
And just dealing with not knowing what's going on. We had no idea. I mean, I didn't know where anything was. Didn't know like the format of how things worked, who's going to go where. We just figured it all out on the fly. And
100%.
And when, I said in the beginning, we do the performance boating thing. That's like our main form of work. But as we move into these other areas, we have to come in with an approach like this, where we just have to figure it out when we get there, because you're not gonna be able to plan everything out. So if we had good pre-production, we kind of know what we're filming, and then it's like figure out everything that's in the moment. But in this case, we didn't really have pre-production, and we didn't know what we were doing. So that's why we had umbrellas.
That's what working with Kelly Berry is like. And not only that, but like, again, just to like pat myself on the back here, like I gave them I think you and I had a call before, and we kind of like, I kind of gave you somewhat of a synopsis of like who people were and whatnot. But like, it wasn't detailed. It wasn't written down. It wasn't like anything like that. And, again, like they didn't know anything about horses. They had no idea like what, they would ask like random questions like throughout, like why do they wear those things on their legs, or like why do they
the dumbest questions,
like all the, but it's like, and then I'm like, oh shit, like I probably should have like told them like this is what's going on, like this is what this is. But we figured it out, and it was just like, it was fine, and it all worked out in the end. But I definitely, as I am a first-time producer, really, of a docuseries. So now I learned a lot. And but yeah, I think you guys did such a great job, and the cameras were safe and secure.
Thank God.
Yep. Except for a tripod.
Yeah. Oh my God. The tripod story was a travesty. Poor Katie.
I don't know if we want to go into that and roast her.
Yeah.
We definitely don't want to roast her, but let's just say that she misplaced the tripod.
Yeah.
And it was a bump in the road for a minute, and we're past it now. And
travel home was a breeze.
Yeah.
We had way less luggage.
That's what she was trying to do for you. She was just trying to provide a happier experience on your flight home. That's it.
It was wonderful.
It was great.
And we got a brand new tripod that this camera's sitting on right now.
There you go.
Same exact one. Easy.
See, thank you, Katie.
I wonder who has that tripod that got left in the parking lot.
If you have a tripod from Devon, Pennsylvania, in the parking lot with, what was his name? Ed?
Oh, the parking guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a treat.
He was something.
Yep.
But
Ed. We'll call him Ed.
Ed, I think it was like something like that. I'm not super sure, but I think it's something
Ed
like that.
might have the tripod.
Honestly, he might be the culprit. And it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. It wouldn't be shocking. So, if he has it, good for him. He's on his Bobcat with his tripod, and he's living his best life. So I want to know, like, is there anything that, shooting Devon, Is there anything that sticks out to you in terms of the show? Like you've seen the show, you've seen, the edit. And is there anything, whether it's, even if it's not in the edit, anything moment that happened that sticks out in your mind that you were either like, wow, that was like a really great moment, it was a terrible moment, like anything that you felt like sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, one thing in particular was the audio during the showing. So we had the riders mic'd up for the most part, and when you were able to hear the hoof prints, like you could hear the horses trotting throughout. I thought that was a huge add. I'd like to do even more with that. Like if we could dial that in a little bit more. I think that was a big separation from just, if you didn't have it, you would have had to use some undertone music, or I don't know what you would have done, but it played without having narrative, where you could just watch it and hear it. And I thought that was awesome.
And you really felt like you were there, like it captivated you. And not only that, but then if things were going great, like you heard them either say like talk to their horses, or like what they do, like, and that's the thing is like any sport, right? Like when you are sporting and when you are in whatever you're doing, like you're not thinking like, oh shit, I'm mic'd. Like you're going to act like you would act all the time. So that's what I thought was so great about the mic, because whether the horses were performing well or not performing well, you got to hear their real reaction, because I didn't cut anything out. So, because I feel like that's important, like I think that's an important piece of this. And so you saw the real side of like what actually happened. That's not fabricated. It's not manufactured. Like it is real. So, so yeah, I think that that definitely added a lot. And I wish like, I think moving forward, I think that like the planning part, like I would love to mic the amateurs. Like we didn't get to mic the amateurs because they were just not comfortable with it, which I understand. Because we just really weren't sure. Like we weren't sure if that was like they were going to get in trouble for that. Were they going to get like disqualified? Like that was definitely a stress point for me, that I was worried of like somebody telling someone something and like someone getting disqualified or something like that, and that it being our fault. Like I would be so devastated. That would be terrible.
So now that we know that we want that, it's just a matter of asking in advance, right? So you have a subject that you pick for the next season, and you say, okay, these are the things that you have to do. You sign a contract and say, this is what we're going to actually provide, and then you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think that that's going to be, and I think now that people can see it, like I think before, like that was really difficult. They just didn't have any, like anything visual to like, like season one was great.
It's kind of like what you said with where you're working with another creative person and you don't know like what they're going to make out of it or what it's going to look like until you put out that first season or that first episode. Your clients don't really know what it's going to look like. So they're a little nervous. They're a little apprehensive.
Right. And that's funny you say that, because like I think the subjects were like, I mean, that's like a really big ask,
It's a big ask of
someone to be like, hey, we want to film you and we're just going to film everything. And then we're going to decide like what goes in and what doesn't go in,
Yeah.
And so you're giving us full rights to like creative whatever narrative we want. I mean, that's like a really scary thing. And I think as time goes on, people are going to be, obviously will have a reputation and be aware and all the things. But like that is like, and they were totally on board. Like everybody was great. Everybody, like we didn't get any like serious pushback. We got a little pushback, but I think it's to be expected. And I, of course, in the moment, hate when that happens, but it just happens. You just have to roll with it and just deal.
Yeah, I feel like pretty much every project we're on, we get yelled at some point because you're always trying to push the boundary, whether it's like, oh, yeah, you can't have cameras in here. And we're like, well, everyone's recording stuff with their phones, so I guess we'll just use our phones, or whatever it is. Like you kind of have to, especially when you're doing documentary filmmaking, because it's all in the moment and you just kind of have to go places that other people won't. And then you got to film it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It can be challenging. You kind of have to just be okay with bending the rules or just pushing the limits.
Yeah, and I think too, like that's definitely something that was pretty like it's a really like talk about being uncomfortable. Like you have to like there are moments that where things didn't go well,
Hmm.
and it got into a little bit of a more escalated, not escalated like physical, but like just emotionally escalated. And like you just have to film it. And like I wasn't filming it, but like either you or Bobby were filming it, and I was just like, ugh,
Hmm.
like standing there. And when it was over, I just remember Bobby said, he was like, look, like this is uncomfortable sometimes, but you just got to do it. And I'm like, better you than me, friend, because
Yeah.
it's tough, like it's really hard.
I feel like there's a point where, and I don't know, I'm not saying I'm there, but there's got to be a point where you see that stuff happen and you get excited instead of getting uncomfortable because
Yeah.
you're like, I know how well that's going to play in this story. Because when
Yeah.
people are pouring out that emotion, I mean, those are typically like the moments of the climax of the video.
Yeah. Oh,
Or they should
absolutely.
be,
Yeah. No, for
because
sure.
yeah.
For sure. So moving into 2026, we had our call the other day about planning for 2026. And how are you feeling about that? Are you excited? Are you like, okay, like I've gotten this one under my belt and now I'm like feeling good and like ready for you. Do you know like what we shot? Do you know like what it's called?
What do you mean what it's called?
Like,
Like when they jump over the jumps.
Oh, uh, oh man, a hunter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good
we go.
job.
It was right there.
good
Yeah,
job. Okay.
I got to brush up on my terms before we go shoot the next one.
That was really good. I did not think you were going to get that. That was good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I do try. No, I'm feeling great
Yeah.
about going in the next one. Terms and things like that, I'm not going to be perfect at that, but I think being there, seeing it, understanding what you're looking for in the edit, and then being able to go in with a good pre-production document, I think that we're
Yeah.
going to we will get so much better content with so much less effort that it will
Yeah.
be way more enjoyable than it was last
Yeah.
time. Not that it wasn't. We all still had a great time, and
Yeah.
I would do it again in that format, but I know we can do
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to the challenge. We talked about a couple different options for this year, and I'm open to really anything. And if it's a couple of seasons throughout 2026, we
Yeah.
would be down for that.
Hell yeah.
We have a ton of equestrian centers around my
I
house.
know. That's what you're
We
saying.
talked about that the other day, and I'm like, maybe there's a way that Scrapyard gets more involved with this, and we
Yeah.
can help promote the stuff that you're doing for
Yeah.
the the owners of these places
For
with
sure.
media and stuff. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it was very fun. Katie loves horses. I don't know if that's like now she loves horses or if that's
Yeah.
always, but
Yeah.
yeah, she wants a horse now, so that's
Oh
that's
gosh,
great.
we have
Thanks,
the
Kelly.
property, so
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have this baby, and then
I
we'll see.
know you're gonna have a baby.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to
So,
go pack my hospital bag after this podcast.
oh my gosh, it's happening. Well,
Yeah.
my brother is his wife is in labor right now.
no way.
Actively. Yes. They're out in Boulder, Colorado, and so we're having a baby today. So
Oh
yours
my
is
God.
it's
Well,
in the air.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's
hopefully
the season.
it's the season. Yeah, I love that. But no, and really quick, I was gonna try to play it, but I don't have my thing hooked up, and it's fine. But like one of the funniest parts of like going, like it would be like midnight or something, and I'm like in the edit, and I'll go grab a thing of audio, and it'll be Brad will start it say, Hannah, post race. I know it's not a race.
Yeah. I didn't know what to
Like
call
he
it.
would.
Like it was so helpful for when you're going through audio, and he would always say like what it was or when it was, like a timestamp essentially. And I just like that one was so funny for me. It'd be like, Hannah, post race. I know it's not a race. I'm just like, oh my God, this is so
Yeah.
good, but it's so helpful.
Yeah.
So helpful.
Yeah, there's a couple other helpful things that I think we can do for this year. One of them being time code. We
Yeah.
talked a little bit about that. We've kind of been working on it. We ran into some technical difficulties, but essentially imagine your timeline with all the cameras and audio just all there.
All there.
I literally, that is just like, and to be fair, like the audio wasn't terrible. It wasn't like
To sync it.
It wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. That was the thing I was the most intimidated about, I think.
Okay.
Well,
that just shows me that you have a good attitude towards it, because other
Yeah.
people have told me it's terrible.
I mean,
And it's the same exact thing.
yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, I think that the hardest thing is that you just have to listen to all the audio. Like, I think
pretty much.
you basically like that's really what I was doing in the beginning, is just listening to hours of audio.
Because then when you hear something, you're like, oh, that happened then, and I think there was a clip of that, and then you pair it.
Yep.
So hopefully you won't have to do that next year, and it'll all just be in there. I should just commit to that right now, that we will have that, and then that'll force me to make sure I figure it out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
To close out, what are you guys doing for the rest of the year? What are you excited about? Obviously, you're going to have a baby.
Yeah, so that's
What
pretty much what
project?
I'll be doing.
Well, that's it, guys.
Yeah. No, I have a travel ban in place, so I'm not going anywhere until we have this baby, and then probably for a while after. I've got Bobby and Christian set up to do all of our travel for the rest of the year. But we do have a few more projects that are kind of in the works. Mini docs, I guess you could call them, like 10 to 20 minute videos. Those are a couple that we're going out to film. And then one of our bigger ones that we're wrapping up in November is an electric boat racing team from the University of Michigan. We've been following them for a year and a half, and these kids are very passionate about their electric boat. They built the whole thing from scratch pretty much.
Wow.
And it was our first chance at working with like a Division I university. So yeah, I'm really pumped for that to come out. It'll probably be at the beginning of next year once we get through all the editing. But yeah, that one,
That's going to be
I'm excited
so
for.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just see you guys going like down the like extreme sports, or not, maybe not extreme, just like sports in general. Like, I think
That's the goal.
that's the vibe I get.
Yeah, we set some like 3, 5, 10-year goals, and
Yeah.
getting involved with professional athletes is just, that's what we all want to do. So
Yeah.
we're kind of taking projects that put us in that direction and trying to weed out the other stuff that, we still enjoy doing, and it helps pay the bills and everything. But
Yeah.
if it's not putting us in that direction, it's kind of hard to justify continuing to do it.
Yeah,
So
I get
it's like a slow process. We didn't know what we wanted to do, and we didn't know what we were
Yeah.
capable of doing. But after that boat racing doc series and then our work in 2025, we're feeling pretty confident that we could work in that level. So that's the goal.
absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. Like, truly.
Yeah.
And this was kind of spur of the moment. I know we've wanted to do it for a long time, so I just appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Kelly, and thanks for picking us to shoot the project for you.
Of
We're looking forward to
course.
26.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.